someone coming at 400 quid for the trip, and like, no thanks.
Yeah.
A massive pat on the back to everybody who's got this far. If you've watched parts 1 and parts 2, you'll be pleased to know this is part 3 and the final part of the pilot episode of the Great European Railway Adventure. You'll find ourselves in the confines of Hamburg Hauptbahnhof's impressive Wandelhall, where we've taken some breakfast in and are now heading for Amsterdam Central. Whilst we're heading for our platform, we reminisce about the previous night's adventures on the new Nightjet Mini cabins and hope that you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed travelling on it. If you've not watched either parts 1 or parts 2, there will be a link in the YouTube video for both parts, so please do enjoy them before watching this video. As you can see, our train is just pulling in on the left hand side and we make our way towards Amsterdam Central. Unfortunately, due to some planned engineering works, the route via Bad Bentheim was closed, so we're now taking the train towards Frankfurt to change at Duisburg and then get our connecting train via Utrecht Central to Amsterdam. As you'll see the city of Hamburg departing on our right hand side, let's have a look at today's map and our route towards Amsterdam Central. So our train ID is ICE 1909 bound for Frankfurt. We're in coach number 9 and we'll be heading through Hamburg Harburg, Osnabrück, Munster, Essen and finally Duisburg as our destination on this part of the journey. As you can see, we're rolling through some beautiful German landscape and taking in some of the sights that potentially could only be seen by train. Sadly, and not uncommon, my work wife Jason found it all a bit too much and decided to read Appendix Z of the Railway Rulebook. With enough broken German under my wing, I understand that the announcement states we're arriving into Duisburg, so I get Jason and we disembark for our next train towards Amsterdam. One of the more interesting features around German railway stations these days is the yellow box which will be shown with an arrow on the right hand side. There it is. This is the only designated place on railway stations in Germany where you can smoke and vape, otherwise it is out the front and outside the main station as per the norm on British stations. We take the short walk through the underpass and we are heading for the escalator, as many are, for the connection for Utrecht Central and Amsterdam. We arrive onto our platform, check the screens and wait patiently for that familiar sound of an ICE roaring into the platform, which can only mean our journey towards Amsterdam. So So as we depart Duisburg, let's have another look at the map as we continue our adventure towards Amsterdam Central this afternoon. As you can see, I've highlighted the usual route and the quicker route via Bad Bentheim and Deventer, but this, as I've explained earlier, was closed due to engineering works. So we'll be heading en route via Utrecht Central towards Amsterdam Central this afternoon across the Dutch border. Jerk you back a little bit. With the familiar sights of the Amsterdam Arena, we know that Amsterdam Central is not far off, and we begin gathering our things to head and spend the afternoon in Amsterdam before heading for Rotterdam and Hoek van Holland.
Approaching now Amsterdam Central, exit on the left-hand side direction of travel.
As the sun begins to set picturesquely, it's time to head for Rotterdam on an intercity direct service. Passengers with regular tickets, please note there is a fee payable, so please use the contactless readers to pay the additional charge, much like tapping on a London bus where you don't need to tap off at your destination. As we disembark at Rotterdam, we head for the local train towards Schiedam, where we will connect with the Rotterdam Metro towards Hoek van Holland Haven. As our metro approaches, we take RET's line B, as shown on the map, towards Hoek van Holland Haven, where Hoek van Holland ferry terminal is a short walk. Well, good evening all. As you can see, we're at Hoek van Holland Haven for the final leg of the journey towards England. There's just Jason passing in the background. Hello, Jason.
Hey,
Yeah, we made it eventually. So next plan of the trip is to get the night ferry over to Harwich and then back towards London in the morning. So for now I'm going to leave you and thank you for enjoying the video, and I hope to see you soon. Take care guys, bye for now.
So, big thumbs up for getting this far to the end of the video. If you've not watched any of the Great European Railway Adventure before and it's your first time on the channel, please like and subscribe the link on the screen below. It is embedded within the video, and it also includes parts 1 and parts 2 of the pilot episodes where we've continued our journeys through Vienna, Hamburg, and as you've seen in this video, Amsterdam. Massive thanks goes out to the workwife Jason. I've had an absolutely awesome time travelling through Europe, especially on the night train. Apologies if I took up a lot of time with photographs and camera angles and trying to get the right shots, but I think it's worth it, and I do once again offer my thanks to Jason for a fantastic time away. Now that I've time to sort of decompress and relax and got home, I would just like to offer my thoughts on the new Nightjet Mini cabins, because I think it is well worth it. I think if the price point's there, it is fantastic. If you're a solo traveller, you get your own little room, it's all locked by key cards, and you've got that security that your possessions are safe as well. A couple of things that I didn't include or completely forgot to include within the room tour review is the lockers, which are located just on the left of the rooms here, sort of in between and in between there. What you'll find is you'll find a locker that's dedicated for a small bag. I had a rucksack with me, so I was fortunate that I could fit the rucksack in with no problems. Dimensions wise, it probably goes up to a small wheelie suitcase that you find sort of if you're going hand luggage only on an airplane. Anything bigger than that, you'll need to put it in the seated coach, which can be found here. And each lock is used by NFC on your mobile phone. So you have to touch that to release the lock, and then touch it again to then input your own dedicated passcode for the night to keep it safe and secure. The other feature just underneath the luggage lockers, which is here, is dedicated for footwear. It doesn't fit all footwear in, so if you've got massive boots, you may have to then potentially put them in with a small case in the luggage locker. But for most trainers, most flip-flop sandals, it's perfect because then they're locked away. There's no issue of space in the room, and also if you've been out hiking for the day, it does keep your little mini cabin nice and tidy. Both of them are done and operated by your key card that you get for the room from the attendants. What will happen is that as soon as you touch the lock to open your actual main door of the cabin, both locks will open for the lockers, but bearing in mind that within a couple of seconds they will lock again for the added security. So maybe that you can't have both lockers open at the same time, but it does give you the flexibility just to keep touching the pad and it'll open both and lock as soon as you've shut the door right to the very end, and you'll hear the click. If I had to give a negative out of all of the experience, it would be the washroom, which is located next to the toilets in each cabin. There was nothing wrong practically with it. There's plenty of hot water, plenty of cold water, plenty of space to actually sort of have a small wash, but being sort of a larger gentleman, it was just a bit of a tight squeeze. So it's just bearing in mind that you might want to use the toilet more as a washroom than the actual washroom itself if you find that it's a bit snug. But that's the only real negative I've got. Finally, a lot of hype's been made about OBB's dynamic pricing, and sometimes people find it's more expensive, a lot more expensive than just getting a cheap flight. I will admit that with the excellent travel benefits I get, and also my work wife gets for working for the railway, we only had to pay for the reservation for the sleeper, which worked out at roughly about €55 each. But I always find as a recommendation that if you know when you're travelling, try and book up as early as possible, because you might find that the ticket inclusive prices are a lot cheaper the further out you want to book. The one thing I am hoping, is that once the new stock disseminates across further on the OBB network, that the mini cabins might come down in price, and that the sleeper prices might come down in price in general once a lot of the new stock is in operation. So just keep an eye on it, and like I say, just book it as well in advance as you can. So the big question is it all worth it in the end? course it is. I wouldn't be here, done a 3-part series, if I didn't enjoy and didn't find that it was actually value for money. Yes, the price point might be a bit high for some people, but if you can afford it, please use the new mini cabins, because they're such a fantastic piece of engineering and ingenuity by OBB. I think this is the breakthrough, and I think if a lot of other sleeper companies can model on the sleeping pod, then I think they'll get a lot more people actually using the sleeper trains as an alternative way to travel. I just found that the whole train was clean, the whole train was nice, the staff were friendly, they'll do as much as they can to help you. It was just a fantastic experience. So if you're planning a next adventure across Europe, just have it in your back of your mind that you may want to travel a night on sleeper trains, because they're just a fantastic way to travel, and they get you to your next destination for your next greatest adventure. So I just think that's absolutely fantastic. So once again, I'd like to thank you for watching all 3 parts. Please like and subscribe below, just up there, and I'll also include the link just up there. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on our next adventure.